back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Allie, and we're doing something a little different today. Wanted to walk you through a day in my life, weekday edition. On this day I was working from home, and I wanted to show you how I do that while staying sane, and also how I do it not working or joining or participating in an MLM. After hearing that, I'm sure you're turned off, but please stay. I promise it'll be worth it. Also, because this is my first time filming in this way, there are a lot of butt shots, and I'm so sorry. It wasn't my intention. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. All my socials are listed below. On this particular day, I started work very early. I like operating this way because I can get things done and stop work earlier. I get paid for these hours of work. I don't get paid for recruitment or units sold, but instead, every hour I work, I get a guaranteed compensation for. I like it that way. There's not a risk of losing my rank in the company because I didn't make enough sales or recruit enough people. When I'm done at the end of the night, I can log out and spend time with my husband. I don't have to work more than 40 hours a week, most of the time. There's a cap on my salary, but I make up for that in different ways that I'll talk about later. I normally start by checking my email on my phone. I reply to anything time sensitive. Then I write out any emails that I can quickly type out on my little keyboard on my phone. When I switch over to my laptop, I write out more pressing emails that are a little bit longer. Today I had a lot going on. I had some projects and time-sensitive things as well. Because I work in an office a few days a week, I like to save some of the work that I can do from home for at home. When I'm in the office, I like to focus on providing good customer service instead of holding myself up in an office all day. I like to talk to people, which is hard in a global pandemic. We're not actually seeing people face to face, but I still like being available for anything pressing over the phone. I firmly believe in getting paid for the work that you do. This is my number one reason for not supporting MLMs. If we're working for companies and making them money, we should be fairly compensated. Full stop. For years, women have been undervalued and underpaid, and these ideals have become further enforced in MLMs. Despite what the sisterhood narrative will tell you, you cannot be both pro-women and pro-MLM. MLMs exploit our time, our finances, and our vulnerability. They work without regard for human life. They do not care about your families or your financial freedom. You're giving them free labor. You are donating your time. You will never be compensated for it. If you add up the hours you've spent on team calls, cold messaging, social media, on top of posting about products that you purchased with your own money, and divide that by the money you've made selling overpriced products and recruiting other vulnerable people, I'm willing to bet that you make much less per hour than the service and corporate workers that you work so hard to belittle.
I ain't falling this time, you would have to burn me down.
After working on emails and before starting my big project of the day, I wanted to make breakfast and my coffee. I try to time my nutrition based on my workouts. If it's in the morning, I front load carbs. If it's in the evening, backload them. I'll probably try to do a video on this at some point because it's a lot more complicated than that. Not normal people don't necessarily have to do it this way. It's just what makes me feel good. However, I woke up on this particular morning and my body really wanted fats. So that's what I decided to give it. I didn't end up loving this meal, but I'm still glad that I listened to my body, and I recommend whether you're counting macros or anything that you're listening to what your body wants. There's a lot of diet bullshit that is constantly being pushed by MLMs. I think if you're not certified, you're working outside of your scope, period. There's no magic pill or shake that can help you lose weight. These trainers that you see in these videos are 100% lifting weights in order to have a body composition that looks as toned and as lean as they do. You're never going to have that body, the body that they have, by jumping around in your living room for 40 minutes. And the shakes. We have to talk about the shakes. Real food is always king. Protein shakes are useful on the go, but let's get real. You're better off eating food. There's no magic blend or shake that will ever be better than food. And furthermore, there's a lot of great protein shakes out there that you can buy that don't cost as much as these shakes do, that aren't in these horribly environmentally non-friendly packaging. Just go to your local Walmart and get some Optimum Nutrition protein if you really want protein that bad. There's lots of different brands that you can use. Again, that you don't have to go through a distributor, you don't have to pay month to month, and you don't have to pay hundreds of dollars a month. It's that simple. I highly recommend following Amanda Howell on Instagram. She's a public health expert, and she talks a lot about this and has some really great recommendations for protein and meal replacements that are simple, easy, cheap, and accessible for the average person. Anyway, you should not be taking nutrition advice from these people. They're not qualified. They're selling you on an idea that doesn't exist. The only effective diet is a caloric deficit, but since you can get those for free, MLMs use diet culture and fat-phobic language to convince you that 1, you have to starve yourself, or 2, you can only drink shakes or boiled chicken, or 3, okay, you can eat protein, but you have to drink grains or fiber, or 4, well, follow this meal plan that is restrictive and ultimately unsustainable, or 5, eat carbs, but buy these keto pills to drain the glycogen out of your pee, or 6, eat whatever you want, but only if you wash it down with this magic gold chocolate sauce proven to blast your stomach fat to space by a doctor who lost his medical license in 1992. It doesn't have to be like this. If you want to lose weight, find a way of eating that's sustainable long term. And when I say find a way of eating, sometimes that may require something like getting a coach or joining something like Weight Watchers, but ultimately these things all rely on the same principle that being in a caloric deficit is king. Find movement you enjoy, and don't start a weight loss journey until you love your body as is. These companies thrive on the fact that we as women hate our bodies. We've been taught to hate our bodies basically from the time we were born, and these companies love that. If we didn't hate ourselves, we wouldn't spend our money trying to fix ourselves. Also, coffee is cheaper and more natural than any supplement you can buy. Drink the coffee. It's not going to give you a sludgy gut. I enjoy listening to audiobooks while I work. I know that hustle culture has taught us that audiobooks should be used for self-development, but I would rather stick to reading for enjoyment. Today I was reading what was it called? Absolutely Remarkable Thing, I believe, by Hank Green. It was a sci-fi novel, and it was excellent. A really great read, a really good listen. Also, if you don't consider audiobooks actually reading, that's ableist. Would you say that to a blind person? I don't think so. Also, get your books from your local library if you can, please. One of the benefits of working from home is the cats. The fluffy one is Stefan, and the one with very few teeth is Max. At this point, it was time to get ready for my day. No special products used, just face washing, teeth brushing, and some SPF moisturizer from Murad. I was headed to take my husband lunch, which I don't get to do often, but I need to go to the post office first. I told you I would talk about income, and one way I like to make some extra money is just selling on Poshmark. I'm obviously selling stuff I already had, so this isn't technically a good business strategy, but nonetheless, I don't make a lot of money. I'm averaging about $100 a month, but that's better than nothing. It's pretty passive income. I spend way less than 10 hours a month doing it, maybe an hour a week total. I plan on making jewelry for Poshmark at some point soon as opposed to running an Etsy account, but I'm still working on the logistics of that. It's definitely not a sustainable business long term, like I said, but I'm doing it while I'm studying for my personal training certification, which I hope to eventually be able to use to personal train and possibly coach, both part-time and then eventually full-time. That will take some time though. It does feel good to build a brand that is completely my own and not connected to anyone else. Technically with YouTube, that's exactly what I'm doing, is trying to build a brand, build a name for myself. It's the same thing I do on Instagram. I don't intend to, ever necessarily do it full time or anything like that, but being able to talk about products I love, do things I love, tell you guys about my life, it is rewarding in a way, and making an income would be nice, but it's not the end all be all. MLMs aren't owning your own business though. You're literally creating a brand as an umbrella for another brand. You have literally zero control of the stock, the prices, or how much you make. The CEO of that company is making bank off of you. You would be better off investing in your own brand. If you wanted to sell clothes, you could buy clothes off places like AliExpress and create your own logos and sell leggings. You could do the same thing with protein powder. You could do the same thing with wine. The buy-in these days is pretty short, is pretty small. You would be better off doing that, and your growth and potential would literally have no cap. But isn't the market oversaturated, you're asking? I counter with, and the MLM market isn't. You're literally recruiting your competition. That's not a good business strategy. That actually sounds like a business designed to fail. Weird. Also, Stephanie Sue is the true crime queen we all deserve. I always turn her on when I'm getting ready. Sometimes you just need a cookie, and that's okay. Eat the chocolate chip cookie, track it if you track. Don't stress about it, don't feel guilty. Just eat the cookie. At this point, it was time for my workout. I really don't work out at home, but once a week I do a Met day, which allows a bit of flexibility. It's not technically a HIIT workout, it's more like a full body workout that's high intensity with weights, lots of reps, low weight, high volume, less about the amount that you lift, anyway. And since I got more dumbbells, I can do my Met workouts and still progress. I don't work out as a punishment. I didn't work out as a punishment for the cookie that you saw me eat earlier. Training and movement is not punishment for me, and it never will be again. You don't have to earn food. You're a human worthy of nourishment. This is another pinnacle of the MLM ideology that I really hate, especially in MLMs such as Beachbody or Modere, but honestly it seeps into all of the ones that are wellness related, even ones that also sell beauty products like Monet or Arbonne. It's a problem in all of them. Many of the higher ups have the same story, right? You hear them on all the team calls saying, I was 200 plus pounds and I was miserable, as if that was the only reason behind their misery. They weren't talking about other things that could have caused it, such as mental health, health issues, financial problems, trouble with kids, all of these things. They amounted all up to the same thing. I was 200 plus pounds and I was miserable. Coming from someone that constantly thought that shrinking my body would solve all of my problems, let me tell you this. If you're miserable at 200 plus pounds, you'll be just as miserable at 150. Before you ever lose weight, you have to detach your weight from your value as a person. That's something your upline will never tell you. When you hate yourself, you're more profitable. I weigh myself once a week for check-ins, but before I started with a coach, I stopped weighing myself completely. I knew that my journey to wellness would start with being blissfully ignorant of my weight. I measured my victories in different ways. I started with learning not to binge. I started eating intuitively. I stopped the cardio and I started eating vegetables. I started having cheat days until I got tired of rewarding myself with food. It was a long process. It took almost 2 years to get to a point where I could lose weight without spiraling into a binge restrict cycle. MLMs don't like stories like mine because they aren't profitable. I didn't use supplements to lose weight or to love myself. I use self-talk and a barbell. Society has taught us that the fact that you can see the fat on my back in these shots should be loathed. It's something to fix, like cellulite, wrinkles, loose skin, and of course the only clinically tested, therefore viable solution is their product. Before filming this and seeing the footage, I didn't give the piece of fat on my back a second thought. I literally questioned whether my message was viable because of that fat. Fuck that. While there is very little that is technically required to join an MLM, they love nothing more than a person that they can mold, change, and use their story for a personal gain. There's plenty of true accounts of this. A weight loss story? Gold. Divorced single mom? Let your comeback be better than your setback. A miscarriage even. Use your story to help, mama. Well, I'm never against someone using their story to inspire change, and by sharing products that could help. You have to be responsible enough to tell people when you have something to gain from sharing. It's the law. According to the FTC, you must disclose when you are making money through advertising, whether it's an affiliate link or a sponsored post. MLMs break these laws time and time again. This is irresponsible. I will report you every time, and if you see stuff like this, you should report it too. And when your messaging doesn't line up with what you're selling, that's a problem. When you're all about female empowerment and body positivity, but you sell products that get rid of cellulite, you're being irresponsible. Furthermore, none of these claims are actually backed up by science. Even the parent company website says that. The parent companies will not claim you or protect you as a distributor, further proving that you aren't even an employee. There are workplace protection laws in place for a reason, and you don't fall under those. You're not an employee or a business owner. You're a pawn to them. You're a cheap way to make money. Think about how much work you put in and how little they pay you. I promise you're worth so much more than that. I tried something new today. It was a failure, and that happens. I stuck with getting steps in instead. I was done with work. I didn't film everything, so I enjoyed the beautiful cool air, my audiobook, and life in general. That's it for me. Thank you. If it made it this far, you either agree with me or you needed to hear this. All love. I think you'll do the right thing. Thanks for watching. Bye.